So I'm here with,
Rich Schaffer, Town Supervisor, Town of Babylon.
who does more than what his job says. He's a great friend, a great mentor. I know Rich a very long time, and have him back on for another podcast, give you an update. So hope you guys have a listen. So thank you for being here. I know you're a busy man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
About 6 phone calls. We're waiting for Frank over there. You know? So I just wanted to have you come in and give you an update of what's going on, even though we kind of already talked about it, but so now everyone else is listening.
That's a private conversation in public.
It's a private, now we're bringing it to light.
There you go.
Yeah. So, update on the charity. So we got basically a bunch of the unions involved now, which I always try to tell everybody your relationship with the plumbing union. Mm-hmm. So can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
So I serve as the executive director for the Plumbing Contractors Association of Long Island, and that's the umbrella organization that represents all of the local 200 plumbing shops on Long Island.
Right.
So there's about 90 signatories to Local 200.
Right.
And the association is made up of some of the larger plumbing companies that you see. You see a lot of their trucks, Bottom Mechanical, Macaron, JPR, Ara,
Yeah.
Seaford.
I just saw George actually at a brunch last week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he was. I guess he was up from Florida.
He's pretty much back and forth now.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
His family's back up here.
Yeah.
And
he always has a smile from here to here. So.
yes, he did. And,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that it had something to do with maybe them banishing him from Florida at some point. We love George. George is the best. He's our golf chairman. And why I like the group is because they do a lot of charitable things, and they're excited about working with you and the charity because one of the biggest complaints that I get from them is workforce development.
Right.
And the fact that kids aren't focused on the trades as an avenue, and
More of a backup plan instead of a...
more of a backup plan. And plumbing can provide a great living
Yeah.
for people who are looking to get started and to start a family. And so,
And they can move up the ladder, like the guys, the names you've mentioned.
yep.
You know, so
Some of those guys started with a van and a helper, and now have a plumbing company where they've been able to support their family,
and now they're on the golf course.
and now they're on the golf course.
Sons
Yes,
of bitches. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're big shots.
Yeah, good for them though.
We
Good
call them management.
upper management.
Upper management,
Upper tier.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's good. So I try to elaborate on when I tell people that how involved you are with the plumbers, and how we have the unions involved. And then in the last dinner, I guess you'd say, back in October, we've since partnered, or we're partnering with even the Teamsters. So Jimmy Shannon is a buddy of mine that trains at the gym. We train there at like 5:30 in the morning. And I got to talking to him and told him what we were doing. He was fully on board. He has more meetings to just make sure that we could have the logo up and stuff like that. But I reached out to the Carpenters Union. I spoke to Nicole.
Right.
So it looks like they're on board. So what we're trying to do now is basically our website is going to be almost like I don't know if I could say Indeed, but like a job search. But
Well, it's good because you're going to have all the information
Yeah.
right at somebody's fingertips.
yes.
And then you'll
For
be able
free.
to for free,
Yes.
and you'll be able to support
Yep.
the organizations that are helping you.
Absolutely. So we're supporting them, legitimate business, and then when these kids go on the website, they could see the validity of what we're trying to do and the opportunity, which would then entice them to come to our meetings.
Right.
And at our meetings, which we just had our first one last week, we'll have those business owners there for them to talk directly with.
And how many kids did you have show up?
I think it was about 14, 15 kids.
That's
but
great.
It was great because it's our first meeting. I was actually pretty happy with that turnout. I think we had like 35 kids sign up for it so far. I ended up going to Sachem Career Day the next day.
Okay.
And I probably saw about 6, 7 kids that signed up. They were like, oh, I didn't make it. And I'm like, well, you better be at the next one.
I was too busy making a TikTok video.
Yeah, I guess so, But they were like, oh, I promise I'll be there. So if those kids are listening, better get your asses there.
You
next
got
month.
it. Absolutely. Because they're going to miss out on a great opportunity.
Yeah, and you have to be at the meetings, and that's part of what we're trying to do. There was one kid that didn't make it that I was pleasantly surprised to hear. He wasn't there because he was working. And I asked him because I'm trying to figure out because we want the seniors to have to work X amount of hours a week. So I'm trying to figure out what would you think a fair hourly week would be for a senior student to work
for working
for
after
working
school?
after school and on weekends? Like, what would you think?
Probably 20 to 25 hours.
I was thinking the same thing. This
Yeah.
kid he works 32 hours a week.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I was like, all right, he's on the
Snatch
ball.
that kid. Send that
And he's
kid
a little
my
bit
way.
he's a little bit of a schmoozer too.
Oh.
So I was like,
Send that kid my way.
We eat him up in second. Yeah, he was good. So also with Sachem High School. So I don't know if you remember. You remember Mr. Lawson at West Baldwin High School?
Oh yeah.
So Mr. Lawson, I don't know if you heard the story yet, but when I went to Career Day last year at Sachem High School, I met the principal. His name's Andy. So Andy came up to me, introduced himself. I'm talking to him. As I'm talking to him, one of the girls, the students, came up to him and says, "Hey, Mr. Lawson." I put two and two together. He's
That was
Mr.
him.
Lawson's
Okay.
son. So now he basically is fully on board with what we're doing. They're rolling out our curriculum that Lissa had made
Right.
to their students in September.
Nice.
So Sachem's the first school to pick it up. So
yeah, and
it's-
Sachem's usually very progressive about
Yeah.
trying new things.
Yeah.
In order, my niece is in the district.
Oh, she is? Okay.
She's a drug and alcohol counselor
Nice.
in the middle school,
Okay.
and so I know a lot of things that they're always looking.
Drug
to
and
do.
alcohol counselor in the middle school.
Well, it's not drug and alcohol. Social work.
Social work. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's smoking and drinking in middle school.
Yeah. Well.
You'd be surprised, right?
Yes.
I actually don't want to know. So, but we're going to be working with Town of Babylon again. We'll have another meeting, I guess, this year with them. See if
Absolutely. Yeah.
we can get them in. So basically, that curriculum is like the meat and potatoes of what we're trying to get through. Whether it's entrepreneurship, what's to be expected when they graduate high school, showing them the different opportunities of the different amount of jobs that are out there. This whole thing that Lissa made, it was very impressive. But then each school could kind of put their own spin on it.
Yeah,
what they want to add, what
according to their own culture.
yeah, so it was actually kind of nice because a guidance counselor came up to me at Career Day last week, and she was talking to me at the end of the Career Day. It was like the last half an hour, and she's like, "Oh, you're in heating and air conditioning and construction." I said, "She needs some stuff done." And then she's like, "Oh, it's funny, we're actually learning about a class next week that we're going to roll out next year that's similar to your charity." I go, "Well, that my wife wrote that curriculum." So she was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool."
That's
and
it, right?
She seems, pretty excited about it. So
Right, that's
it's
good.
pretty cool. Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. It's what you're doing, and why I believe it's going to be successful at the end. It's already successful.
Yeah.
The fact that you've already gotten 15 of the 35 kids who signed up showed up.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
a great number. But also, as word spreads among the education community and the administrators, you're going to see that there are going to be people popping up, reaching out to you, contacting you through the website and saying, "Hey, how do we get on board?"
Yeah, absolutely. I think once we start cutting checks to these kids
Oh, absolutely.
come June.
The word will spread.
Yeah. Which, like we discussed before, Brinkman's hardware stores.
Right.
I was telling you, Ben Brinkman came to the meeting last week, which, everyone, it was very nice of him to come. A lot of other business owners that came as well. We're not going to give these kids money. Just
Right.
here's a check. We want to make sure they're spending it on what we're wanting them to spend it on, which is
Accountability.
tools, working gear, stuff like that. So we're going to be actually buying gift certificates from Brinkman's hardware stores where the kids can go, because
Smart.
he has 6 locations around the island, and then we'll make sure that they're buying the right stuff.
Plus, it's a local store, which is great.
Absolutely. And then the other company we were talking about that I want to give a big thank you to is Curtis Wright. So most people don't know about
Located
Curtis
right here
Wright.
in the town of Babylon.
Yeah. So, and a huge company. I never knew they were there till the meetings that I had with BOCES, and I would run into them. And then I went and toured their facility, which they're actually going to take our kids and tour the facility as well.
Oh, good.
But, they build parts for submarines for the government.
Right.
So I think it's so impressive. And it was actually funny because out of those 15 kids that they had, each one wants to be, because that's all they really know, which is not their fault, plumber, electrician, or HVAC. So we talked to them for a little bit. And I said, let me bring Will Velkoff over here, and you guys talk to Will for a little bit. And Will is like in charge of operations of all the welding and a lot of stuff that goes on over there. And, he has a long list of jobs that are available there.
And they're desperate for welders.
Yeah, I mean, as people, I know they run a day and a night shift over there. So, and then, as guys age out, they need these kids to fill the spots. But you could see, like, the minds exploding a little bit for the kids that were listening to what he had to say, because they had not one clue, as did I, of what went on just in that one manufacturing facility.
Right.
So it was really nice to see.
And I know you've got a good partnership going with Winters Brothers.
Yes. So I know I had talked to you about meeting with them, and then what happened was about a month ago I went over there and I spoke to the woman at the front desk, but everyone was away that particular day, and I was like, I didn't hear anything, and then I didn't want to bother you, which I do tend to do. Sorry, never bother. But I went over there and I was there for about 5 seconds, and she beeped Will Flower over, and he within 5 seconds was out. Come here, follow me. Took me to get coffee. Sat down in the conference room. Told us that they love what we're doing, and how what we're doing also kind of aligns with what they're doing, because he brought this to my attention. I never thought of this. I don't know if you did either. With their foundation for autism, or charity for autism that they have, they talk about how you have all these programs for kids with autism during a certain age range.
For, say, kindergarten through 18.
18. And then they age out and there's nowhere for them to go.
Joe Winters spoke to me and others about his desire, because he had his own son who aged out.
Yeah.
And he was lucky to be able to hire his son at the company.
Right. But not everyone has that.
Not everyone has that. And he knew that. And he also knew his company became a model for how you could utilize individuals who are on the spectrum by training them. And right across the street, literally, is the Winters Autism Center.
Yeah.
And they do a great job at showing how to be able to get people to be productive.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And so this works beautifully with your
foundation. Because he shed light on the fact of, our kids age out too. They may not have autism, but if kids don't go to college, they age out at 12th grade, 18 years old. Then where do they go? There's nowhere for them to go.
Right.
There's no guidance. He said even the kids that go to college age out. Because after college, unless your parents know somebody or unless you're a real go-getter, you're not going to get a job. So that's also the thing that we're trying to explain, that this isn't just about kids not going to college. This is for kids that go to college as well, because when they come out of college, this is one big networking group where these unions and these bigger, larger companies need engineers, they need architects, they need lawyers,
accountants.
They need accountants.
Yeah.
These are all things we all jive together, and that's really what this is. So when these kids age out, whether it be high school or college, this charity will be something for them to come back to and, utilize as a network for them.
Right.
And it's great. Hopefully not come back to. Hopefully they're going from 9th grade on and staying in contact.
Well, the goal is to just give them that push that they need.
100%. Yeah. So it's kind of all going to plan, which is really cool.
No, it sounds really good, and I know I've heard a lot of positive feedback about it as well.
Well, you were tremendous help with this, so I always thank you, as always. And
but Ryan, you're the one who kind of took it.
I had the idea.
And you're also good at bringing different people together.
Yeah.
Who are necessary to make this isn't a one-person show, even though we're on the Ryan show right now. But but it's
we're all working together.
You're good at bringing people together.
That's I always say, especially lately, like this is the most fun I've had in my career of any job I've ever had.
You can see it all over your face.
Yeah, because I'm not asking for any. It's different when you have a business and you're going to someone to try to get business from them. It's kind of I never like doing it.
Right.
I'd rather be friends with someone, and if they like me and something happens to come up, they'll think of me.
Correct.
That's fine. But with this, I'm actually bringing them something that's gonna help them.
Well, you're also changing lives.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have a sea of people who 5-10 years from now are gonna say, "Hey, remember me?"
Right. That'd be cool.
Oh, that's,
like you have.
And that's why I do what
awesome.
That's why I do what I do. Is because I like being able to positively impact lives and have people come back and say, "Hey, you got me into this, or you helped me with that, or you got me a recommendation."
One little thing could
and you've changed their trajectory and changed not only their lives but their families' lives as well.
Absolutely. Well, the parents were, I feel, the most excited. I mean, the kids were excited. You could say they were kind of nervous at front, but everyone's demeanor in the beginning was totally different at the end, because at first they kind of like don't know what to expect. Same thing with the parents. And then at the end, everyone's talking and everyone's like, just everyone's on the same page. It was really nice to see. So I'm looking forward to the next.
Because they're all nervous about their future.
Yeah,
everybody in general right now is just nervous about the future. And so when someone comes to them and all of a sudden maps out a plan
Yeah.
that requires them to work, so they've got to step up and work and show up on time and be respectful and all that. But the parents are grateful because they probably are having these conversations at home and they're not going anywhere
Right.
until you've kind of entered into the equation and said, hey, we've got this.
Right.
Let's take a look at this.
100%. So it's going to plan.
Good. I love it.
It's great.
Yeah, and we're excited to be able to do whatever we can do.
Yeah. No, you always are. So it's excellent. So thank you again. Just wanted to give you an update. And
You got it.
Here we are. So
Thanks, Rye.